Alright, at the front of this boat, you have your anchor. When you're using this anchor today, make sure you turn into the wind, set your anchor down, and then tie it off to the cleat as follows. When you get done at anchor, always put this anchor and all the ropes back inside of this trash can so it doesn't fall under the boat and cause an accident or an injury while operating the boat. Never let anyone ride on the front of the boat, also referred to as bow riding. It can result in injury, accident, or even death if someone was to fall over the front of this boat while it's in operation and they got run over by the propeller. Your boat, you need to turn into the wind, and you're going to set your anchor down and then tie it off to the cleat. Once it touches the bottom, I would let out an extra span of 20 feet or so of line. I would take this, I would wrap it around your cleat a couple times, and then I would make a half hitch underneath and let it bite. Do that twice, and your anchor will be locked in place. This trash can right here is meant to put all these ropes in place back inside nice and neat so it doesn't go underneath your boat when you're running and get stuck in your propeller. All your life jackets are underneath these seats. The seats flip up like so. Start Approved is located underneath this seat right here. If anyone is drifting away from the boat, throw your throwable to them so nobody has an accident or drowns. In the back of this boat, right here, I have your fire extinguisher located for you. Everything you need illegally beyond this boat is right here inside of this box. Again, you have a marine radio, channel 16. Turn it on with this red button by holding it down. 16 is the Coast Guard. If you have a life and death emergency, call the Coast Guard. If you have a headache, we've provided aspirin, and take an aspirin. There's also some motion sickness inside of this first aid kit. Everything else you need to legally be on this boat is in this box, including but not limited to flares, registration, whistle, and we've also provided you with a knife. A knife is if you accidentally run over something, a balloon that some kid let go of last night that landed in the bay, or a crab pot buoy. Turn your boat off, trim the motor out of the water, and cut whatever's out of your prop. In the back of this boat, located in the rear, you have a swim ladder. If you go swimming today, turn your engine off, and don't let anyone swim around an engine while it's running. That could result in an accident, injury, or even death if someone was to get run over by a moving propeller or a running engine. All right, moving forward into the controls of this boat, I will start with this. This is called a safety lanyard. It needs to be worn around your wrist while you are operating the boat. The idea is if you were to fall off, it will unplug and it will turn your boat off. If it is not there located underneath the nipple and you try to start your boat, it beeps at you. You need to put it back underneath the nipple. If you hear that beep noise at any other time during this rental, you have a problem. Most likely you are overheating and you ran something over. The button right here on your throttle, if you hold it down, hold it up, it will trim your motor out of the water as follows. Your motor is water cooled. It needs to be in the water while it's running. To trim your motor down, press down on the button until the motor engages in the water as follows. To start this boat, your throttle position lever needs to be in the neutral position. The kill switch lanyard needs to be under the nipple, and your motor needs to be in the water. Once that's complete, turn your key. Once it is running, you will see water coming out of your motor. If you have no water coming out of your telltale, you have a problem. Once your motor is running, this is how you put your boat in gear. This position is neutral. You have forward. Anything past that is acceleration. Back to neutral. and you have reverse. Anything past that is reverse acceleration. You always want to let your RPMs come down below 1,000 before you shift your boat in and out of gear. If your boat is not in the neutral position, which is here, and you accidentally have it a little bit out of neutral and you try to start it, nothing will happen. Your boat will not start. Let's explain the gauges. This is called your tachometer for your RPMs, your voltmeter, and you have a full tank of gas. This switch right here is your GPS or navigation system. Once you flip it up and hold down on this button here, it will turn on. We will explain this shortly. Stereo or music, flip that switch up and your radio will come on. Boss Audio is how you connect to Bluetooth, so you can listen to your Taylor Swift or your Justin Bieber. This switch right here is a horn. This one is a stern light. Running lights. You do not need these switches unless you were operating before sunrise or after sunset. This switch right here is your voltmeter or phone charger. Flip it up and you can charge your phone. I'm going to begin by explaining the navigation system equipped on your boat. It works as follows. The top left number on your screen indicates the depth of the water beneath your boat. Currently, this boat is in 14.6 feet of water. You will be this triangle that you see on the screen. It will follow you wherever you go and help you navigate on your voyage. You will be leaving a red line, as is shown, wherever you go. Anytime you touch this screen and you leave two lines, known as a cursor, it will no longer follow you where you are going. Always touch this button here where it says clear cursor and clear it. Again, if you touch the screen, you always want to clear your cursor. What happens is if you're looking ahead, you often leave the two lines, or if you're zooming in or zooming out, you'll leave a cursor, so always clear it. Anytime it says restore cursor, the system is functioning properly. All the yellow lines left on this screen is where this boat has been and never incurred a problem. As long as you were staying on one of these yellow lines or in the area with a yellow line, you will be in safe operation for this vessel. What are all the numbers that I see on the screen outside of these yellow lines or inside of it, such as the 2s, 3s, 4s? That is approximate depth of the water before you reach there. For instance, it's about 3 feet of water there and about 2 feet there. The number in the bottom left corner is the volt supply of this boat. The number right here that says miles per hour is the speed the boat is traveling at the present time. The number located right here that says water temp is the temperature of the water. Currently it is 78.3 degrees. If you plan to travel in the direction of Kipta State Park or the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, we added stop signs along the edge of the shallow water, along the sandbar, to help you avoid encountering shallow water and getting stuck on a sandbar. The skull and crossbones are indicating shallow water. If you look in there, I see one. That is 1 foot of water anticipated. As you travel southbound from Cape Charles Harbor, you can see the yellow lines are on the outside of the stop signs, and there's numbers such as 21 indicating it's 21 feet deep, and also there's 0s and 1s indicating there is no water in that area in there. If you come around the point at Bay Ridge, 3 miles from Cape Charles Harbor, and you reach Kipta Beach, you will see the concrete ships located here about 1/16 of a mile from the shore. On the north side of the beach at Kipta Peak is a swimming area. They do not want your boat in the swimming area. On the south side of the beach, you have pretty deep water, and it's a nice place to anchor up and go swimming. The hazards you can encounter while traveling to Kipta Peak or south of the Cape Charles Harbor would be running into a commercial fishing net, running over seagrass, or encountering shallow water if you're near the beach on a sandbar. By no means are we prohibiting people from anchoring on a sandbar and going swimming. We're asking you to proceed with caution when you are in shallow water and read the depth of your depth finder and pay attention to the tides. The water in the Chesapeake Bay is open and exposed to almost all weather conditions. There is no protection from wind. If you plan on heading north in the north direction of Cape Charles Harbor and you're seeking calm water inlets such as Cherrystone Inlet or Kings Creek, you need to use your navigation system. The water is navigable. There are lots of hazards in that area. You can see we've laid out the road on the yellow lines to get to those areas, Kings Creek and Cherrystone Inlet, with the navigation system. We even put stars on the main path or road to get there. What are all the skull and crossbones on this screen, and why are there so many stop signs? The skull and crossbones on this screen are indicating commercial oyster farms or metal structures known as oyster cages. If you end up on top of some guy's commercial metal oyster cage, it is significant. You do not want that to happen. If you're going to be traveling in this direction, you need to pay attention and you need to use the navigation to get there. Inside of Kings Creek is a marina called the Oyster Farm. It's a beautiful place to visit inside of this creek. However, it is navigable. Please stay on the yellow lines and proceed with caution if you attempt to go outside of the stop signs. The skull and crossbones is typically indicating there's oyster cages in the area, meaning metal wire in the water. If you're traveling further north from Kings Creek, you need to cut through the channel along the shoreline. Cherrystone Campground is shown here where I'm pointing, and there's a nice sandbar that people like to visit out front of Cherrystone Campground where we put the swimmer icons. If you turn inside and go up Cherrystone Inlet, there's a lot of protection in this inlet from the wind. There's deep water in the middle of the inlet, 14, 10, and so on. Please stay on the yellow lines and navigate and pay attention as you travel. Where the skull and crossbones are outside of the stop signs is metal wire and oyster cages. It can lead to a disabled vessel. If you're not fully aware and understanding of how to use this navigation equipment, please let one of the members of our staff know and we will assist you. Most important thing that people seem to run into with troubles is they forget to hit the clear cursor button. That brings it back to you. Again, you are the triangle. Follow the yellow lines for safe boating today. If you plan on fishing today and you wish to use the sonar or downscan options, select this button on the top right. If you click on chart chart is your navigation option. If you select this button again, you have sonar. If you press this button again, you can go to down scan. If you press this button again, you can get side scan. If you press it again, you can go back to charts. I hope this video has been helpful, and we hope you have a great time out on the Chesapeake Bay.